Hello and welcome to this reading, which is inspired today by an idea that is new to me. It is the idea of the glimmer in mental health. So I'll read you a definition. A glimmer is a small positive moment of joy, safety, or connection that signals to your nervous system that you are okay and helps counteract stress and build resilience by activating your body's relaxation response. So the idea with this is that if we are in a period of prolonged stress, anxiety, conflict, or discomfort, it's really doing a number on our nervous system, and the idea of finding the glimmer is giving yourself a moment of positivity or respite and feeding your nervous system this input of safety so that you can have a little more resilience, a little more calm or regulated of an experience. And I thought that it might be quite interesting to ask for the input from our spirit guides to see if they can help direct us to noticing or anchoring into these glimmers. So there are 3 groups to choose from, and I do invite you to take a big deep breath, filling your lungs all the way up. And once you're there, letting it all out, dropping the shoulders and softening the jaw, and anchoring yourself into your heart space so that you can let yourself be guided to the reading which is most aligned, most positive for you to hear today. And once you're ready, I will meet you there. Hello, group number 1. If you chose card number 38, chakra or light body, for you, I see a confusion of conflicts. This looks like maybe not even just one conflict, but multiple disagreements about multiple things. So, if this is what is around you or what you might be caught up in, I wonder what spirit would like to bring forward as a way for you to find glimmers through your day when all these different energies are embroiled in all these competing interests. And I could imagine too that this might be, triggers with a history where we're triggering each other and we don't even realize that we are, or we're bringing up difficulties that we might not even know each other well enough to recognize them, and we're trying to find a pathway forward in this really uncomfortable space. So the first message that I'm seeing, and you will know if this is the right message for you or if it doesn't fit, but it is really about reminding yourself of your shared values or goals. So this would be for those of you who are caught up in some kind of, I want to say, infighting, where you're actually on the same team or in the same family or trying to reach the same outcome, but you are finding yourself in this uncomfortable place of conflict, and it would perhaps be very much of service to what it is that you value if you could come back to the feeling of being on the same team. So there are a few ways that I could imagine this playing out in different people's lives. For example, if you're in a romantic relationship, but you're fighting with your partner, this could be coming back to consciously choosing to put some time every day into noticing what you appreciate about them. And this won't mean that the conflict magically disappears, but it might mean that your nerves calm a little, and that you have some positive input to bring some balance to that discomfort, or that the ground for communication is just a little bit more smooth, a little bit more manageable. Now, if this were a workplace or a situation where you are on a shared team with other people, this might look like giving yourself the gift of appreciating why you value what you do. Say you're working to create something that you're passionate about, but there are disagreements about how to get a good result. One way that you could use this practice of finding glimmers would be, just to sit for a few minutes in the morning and think about the reasons why you care as much as you do, and perhaps recognize as well that the others with whom you are working might really care as well. And from this, you might be able to anchor into an attitude of more goodwill for yourself primarily, because this is why you're in conflict, is because you care so much. So having this appreciative attitude towards yourself for being someone who cares as much as you do, and then extending that anchor of appreciation and understanding out towards your colleagues as well, or your boss or your co-workers, whoever it is. And again, this is not a magic erase for whatever tension does exist, but it could potentially be grounding and help settle your nerves to some degree. And if that does facilitate some sweetening or softening of the communication space, that could be a wonderful start. There is a message that wants to come through here, which says that when a collective or a group of people gather with the intent to create something or change something or make something beautiful, there is still, of course, a huge amount of diversity within that collective. And even in the case of a couple, just two people, you are both coming from different places, so your experiences and expectations might be completely different. But if you share the desire to create something together, then how beautiful that is. When I think on the larger scale, a movement to create change around how things are done with a far-reaching impact, systemic change or something like that, then such changes come from not just one person, but hundreds or even thousands of individuals coming together and sharing all their different experiences. The image that we are given here is if all of us come together on a dark night and bring even the tiniest of lights with us, then with enough of us together, we will still all be able to find our way. And it is coming back to that understanding which might be of use and bring some meaningful balance to those of you who are feeling bogged down or hurt by conflict, within the group or the connections that you want to be working with. And I could imagine in the context of a couple, partners, one person meeting one person, if the conflicts are between your histories, between your triggers, between the things that it's harder for each of you to understand about each other, then this metaphor of just bringing out small lights could be, small acts of goodwill, showing each other these little pieces of appreciation and perhaps tenderness or care or respect, which can help you to calm whatever this tension is, or at least set a foundation of acting well towards each other. And what my guides are showing me now is that you have so much to offer, your willingness and your good nature. And if we stay with this light metaphor, all the different ways that you bring light with your heart and with your words and your insight and your actions, you are magnificent and capable. And I think that another place that Spirit is encouraging you to find glimmers is in giving yourself credit, noticing how much you care and how sweet it is that you do, noticing the many small actions that you take throughout the day towards what you care about, even taking a break from what's been troubling you and noticing the other wonderful things about you. Maybe you are a fantastic cook, or maybe you create fun crafts. Maybe you are generous with your family, or maybe you're part of an organization or a church or a singing group or something completely separate from what it is that's been on your mind. And give yourself time to simply enjoy being who you are, giving yourself this appreciation and this positive input which your nervous system so dearly needs in order to settle and unwind from this realm of distress and upset. And I really want to make it clear that this does not mean that you are undermining the significance of these challenges at all. It simply means that you are giving yourself the gift of gentleness and appreciation and goodwill throughout the day, really as a way to care for yourself through hardship. Now, I get the sense, Group 1, that hope is going to come into this situation of yours through multiple avenues. They're showing me a meadow full of different flowers, all blooming one after the other, or a sky lighting up with many different stars. And some of these might be coming from completely unexpected places or directions. Or if this is more of an internal process where you are working through these tender or these difficult memories or triggers within yourself, you might find that deeper well-being and stability in this situation actually comes from acknowledging how all of the different parts of yourself are working in the ways that they do because they care about you. You know, if we have a part of us which is very guarded and has a difficult time forming trusting relationships, and we feel in some way limited by that, then we can also give that part of ourselves acknowledgement for the hard work that it does to protect us. And I am also seeing here that it really is the multifaceted approach which might generate the most calm, the most secure sense of well-being and stability as you navigate whatever this is. So what do I mean by multifaceted? It's combining the cooking and the singing and the exercise routine, and the morning coffee in your favorite mug, and the bath, or the time that's devoted to reading, or the conversations with your good friends, or the gardening, or whatever it is that helps bolster and support you, reminding yourself that you have these avenues for positive experience and being intentional about giving yourself that. Because the truth is that the more that you are able to anchor into these positive experiences and into this place of calm nervous system, and this doesn't mean suppressing, I want to be very clear. This is really about actually having the input of experiences that feel positive and feel nurturing. The more that we have that, the better able we are to face these difficulties, these challenges and conflicts as they come up, and give ourselves and others some grace and some understanding. So I will leave you here, Group 1. I do hope that this reading gave you something. I hope that it helped you see some of the great things about yourself and remember that you have so many beautiful things to offer, and that life also has so many beautiful experiences to offer you. You really are a wonderful person, and I do hope that you are able to find more peace and meeting of minds and hearts in whatever this situation is. And I do wish you all the very best. Hello, group number 2. If you chose this card number 49, Family and Circles of Life, then this is your reading. And group 2, I am so sorry, because the immediate sense that I get from this message is loss upon loss upon loss. And I don't mean anything like being a loser. What I mean is something like an experience where there is a beautiful or a precious thing which collapses, and then you have a similar experience again where something else that is beautiful collapses. And what's actually rather strange here is that I'm not even sure that these are or were things that you were completely attached to. It's a bit like if there was a job that, you liked part of it, but there were other parts of it that you didn't really care about, or a connection with someone who you knew might not be your deepest love. These things have been shut down in some way, and that may not be what's true for all of you, because for some of you it may be that these were things you felt very attached to indeed and have had to experience some real grief and sadness about it. But for others of you, you have this sadness even if you weren't completely attached, because you did recognize the value that was there, and you certainly did not want the sad or the painful outcome. This could even be witnessing someone else get hurt and just feeling for them and wishing that this weren't happening and that they didn't have to go through this discomfort. And so as I am asking about glimmers and wondering about the ways that you can keep your nervous system balanced and your mind and heart in a gentle and sustaining place, the first thing that I'm seeing is a level of detachment. And this is detachment in a very particular sense of allowing yourself to still rest in your own beauty, your own peace, your stillness or serenity, without fully taking on the burdens of others. And one of the metaphors that my teacher uses for this is, imagine that you see someone in a car wreck. It does not help them for you to get in the car and be hurt with them, but we can be with them and hold their hand and witness their pain and tell them, I'm so sorry that you have to go through this, and please know that I care deeply about you. But you're saying that without getting sucked into the pain yourself or taking on what isn't yours to carry. This is allowing yourself to see the places where actually you are all right and feeling well, and not diminishing those parts of yourself, even though you have so much compassion for what is outside of you. This is still allowing yourself to relax in the beauty of the sunrise, or appreciate the parts of your world which are still lit up, still abundant, still generative of all that you need, and working harmoniously. And this is also perhaps appreciating all of the different avenues still available to you, the different freedoms, and really being anchored in source, in the source of all that is good in your world. Maybe for some of you, you are very devoted spiritual practitioners, and you haven't lost this beautiful connection to divinity, regardless of the pain that you witness around you, or if you are among those for whom this pain is actually what you are experiencing yourself and having to go through, then you have this knowing that you are still connected to source no matter what. You are still connected to this divinity, and so even though you are traversing these very difficult experiences, you are also knowing that you are guided, that you are loved, and that there is something divine in you and in your experience. And I do see this group as being the ones who trust the sunrise, who trust the new day, trust the return of goodness and harmony and abundance. And you simply aren't letting that be clouded even though you so tenderly recognize the presence of pain or heartbreak. And maybe the reason that this is important is because you are a helper. You are one of the beings who finds their joy and their sense of purpose from the ways that you tend to the world, the healing and the teaching and the caring and the prayer and the deep emotion, balanced with this sweet lightness of being. I see creatives here too, the ones who transmute and alchemize experiences through art. I see the ones who always have a shoulder to cry on, and the ones with an open heart who never fully close themselves off to the world, no matter what they saw. And truly for you, it is important that you allow yourself to catch this sunlight, this source light, because this is how you sustain yourself to keep bringing this gentleness into the world. So it is so important that you keep remembering there is no shame in that, no shame in staying with the joy that you can access, and absolutely no shame in tending to yourself in exactly the ways that you need to, even if that doesn't look for you the way that it might look for others. It is really so good for you to trust yourself and know and love yourself and your unique needs when it comes to this self-nurture and heartful tending. And from that place, you will be able to integrate what you need to bring together what you need to, and allow what might seem like different or conflicting parts to all coexist in a harmonious and respectful way, even if part of what you are integrating doesn't feel totally natural to you, or doesn't feel like your most comfortable environment or reality. You are still well enough rooted in what you are and what you need for this to work. And I am seeing that it is absolutely okay not to try and carry everything. Trust, in fact, that others who have the right capacity for the right action in the right moment will step forward and gladly take on whatever parts of the collective burden that they are uniquely suited to carrying. So let yourself be one of many, and trust that Source is seeing the whole puzzle and sending the right understanding or the right impulse to the right person at the right time. And this is actually part of how you can relax in this radiance so freely, because you know that not all of this is on your shoulders, and that each person has their own beautiful role to play. And so, maybe you will witness one person light up another person's heart, or someone else resting in solitude, and maybe you would even feel like you wish you were part of that connection where those people are lighting each other up, or you feel sadness for the person who is alone at this time, but know that they are on their own journey and tending their own heart and giving attention to the things that they need to for their path in this world to be on a good track. We are all in the process of finding the right balance for ourselves, and though we might want to rescue the ones that we love from their sadness, it is probably much more important for that person to walk their own path of healing. And if we were to step in, they would externalize and find in us what they were meant to develop within themselves, which would only lead to the same unprocessed heartbreak repeating further on down the road. There is a strong message coming through about patience, about not managing things for others, that they would be better off if they learnt for themselves, and not stepping in to make what should be actually a solitary journey, something that is handled by two people. Let them have their own solitary journey, or even if this is you, allow yourself to have your own solitary journey. And I wonder if this is a very spiritual group who have this beautiful faith and connection to Source, if part of what you are letting happen here by staying in your own lane, as it were, is that others also receive this gift of seeing how diverse and supportive Source really is. Instead of you stepping in, then letting Source, letting the universe show other people all that they can have, even if they might have wanted to have this support from you. But you are actually letting them find out how comprehensively they can be blessed and sustained by the same divinity that sustains you. Perhaps you are allowing them to develop their own artistry, their own surprise and delight in their own relationship to mystery, and this may be what attracted them to you, was their wanting to find out about those particular energies, and you are letting them find out the infinite ways that the universe can interact with them. And are you diving into this in your own way as well? Have you stepped up into a new level of mystery, or a new and multifaceted journey to undertake? Maybe your heart is calling you in some new direction, and you do not yet know what this initiation into a new level of yourself is going to be. Maybe that is another reason that it's so important for you not to take on the burdens of others right now, and to keep yourself anchored in your own connection to Source. I am feeling a thrill of anticipation for you. Group number 2. What new self-understanding is going to come from this opening, this transition in your life? I could easily imagine that you might also be a little nervous to embark on this path. And if that is the case, then I want to tell you that you are going to find moments of extraordinary beauty on this journey, and things that you never imagined that you would experience. And you may even find that as you sit with what you are afraid of on this journey, that those things reveal themselves to carry new treasures, new insights, new versions of love, new pillars of integrity. Group 2, the dissolution and disruption of the identities upon which we have relied. The ways that we are habituated to interacting with the world, even the ways that other people expect us to be, to let those things dissolve or fall away can feel very fearful indeed. But is it not also in this disruption of what was habitual or unexamined that we find the possibility of a completely new understanding? There is a song that my guides are giving me, but they are actually giving me a twist on the lyrics. And it's a very beautiful song. I will put a link to it in the description if I can find it. It is called True Love Will Find You in the End, and it is by an artist called Daniel Johnston. I do recommend listening to it if you feel called to, but the twist that my guides are giving me on the lyrics is like this. There is a part of the song which goes, don't be sad, I know you will. And the twist that they are giving me is actually swapping the word scared for the word sad. And so the way that this comes out is, don't be scared, I know you will, but don't give up until true love finds you in the end. So group number 2, are you in a new stage of spiritual evolution and a place where you don't know what's on the other side? This is such a wonderful and tremulous moment, and there is this message from Source which says, don't be scared, I know you will, but don't give up until true love finds you in the end. And with that, my dear group 2, I am going to wish you all the very best. Hello group number 3. If you chose card number 21, Indigo, Mystery and Mastery of Life, then this reading is for you. So I'm actually a little confused about where the idea of glimmers is going to come in, because what I am first seeing is a meeting of forces, creativity, emotion, passion. There are all of the elements here, and perhaps specifically what is present is the effect that happens when we bring the elements together. The moment when water meets air as it becomes water vapor, the way that heat moves it upwards, while at the same time the ground is shaking from the thud of dancing feet or the movement of tectonic plates. This is an incredible amount of creativity, like you could lose yourself in the flow, in the experience of making, doing, feeling, sensing, interacting with all these exciting impulses. And so actually I am beginning to understand where the idea of glimmers and sustenance for the nervous system can come into this, it's almost from the opposite direction than what I expected. In group 1's reading, the energy was much more about doing the work of finding hope in a dark or a difficult place, but your reading, group number 3, shows me that you are so tapped in, so creative and responsive to the flow of ideas, that your work is in having the skill and the boundaries to condense or distill all this creativity into something tangible. It feels as though you want to bring something into the world, manifest something or some things. And is that to do with your work? Are you creative in your job? Or is this a different kind of offering that you are bringing into the world? Do you have a particular practice that is meaningful to you? Whatever this is, you are almost in this work of crystallizing or bringing forward these glimmers, sort of like also to share with other people and help others find hope in their dark times, because you are so tapped into this wonder and this flow, this creativity and all this beauty. So you have to have the discipline to do that, and you also have to let yourself have the authority to do it as well. Give yourself the credence to do this work that is important to you. And I'm seeing that you absolutely can do that. You know, you might be at a place where you have done some work of creating trust in yourself and having this discipline and this devotion to your craft. And so it's really just about, buckling down and putting in the work, or creating the space, or cultivating the soil, or whatever it is that looks like for you. And I see that you have the sensitivity and the receptivity that allows you to be engaged in your chosen field, to be receptive to the nuances of whatever that is. And you also have the passion and the enthusiasm to get things done. And I wonder if in the past you might have had times when you were so caught up in the sensory experience or the joy of being creative that you had not yet mastered the art of making a finished product. This makes me think of, for example, a writer who has a great idea for a story but doesn't quite know how to structure it into a narrative with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I see for you that your practice of cultivating these glimmers in your life, but for your group, maybe even they are becoming glimmers for other people's lives, if this is something that you share with others. This has a lot to do with having the discipline to create these finished products and having the trust in yourself to do that. And from this process, you will also get this gift of satisfaction of having done something that you care about, created another piece for your own puzzle, as it were. I think that maybe now more than ever before you have the skill to put together work that you can be satisfied with, and maybe that skill is amassed from all different directions or experiences you've gained. This is like a weaving together of all the unique things that you have to offer, so that what you're making is uniquely yours. I wonder if part of why it might not have been so easy to create the structure to really manifest these finished products in the past has to do with how wonderfully sensitive or even tender you are. I am thinking of someone who is in a dichotomy where it's like the only way that they can truly bring out their authentic creations is if they are in a very childlike energy, because that is where they will have the receptivity to be in touch with this part of themselves. But at the same time, there has to be an adult protective part of them that creates the container for this to be able to happen. I am imagining a person who is following their own star, which means retaining the wonder and the trust that it is worth doing so. But also, in order to follow this path, they have to have the skill to survive, the warrior or the hunter spirit, that ability to guard what is precious. I see you as being in meaningful relationship with what you are doing or creating, as though you know that this is worth the work of bringing into the world, like a sacred duty or an agreement with a particular kind of magic that you are going to steward this in a good way because it is precious. And that is wonderful because it means that you are able to recognize what is precious in yourself. You are able to recognize your distinct offering to the world. Having said that, I am also finding myself with the question, as this reading is about cultivating and recognizing these glimmers of hope and giving oneself the gift of acknowledging them, are you being reminded to recognize that this is precious? Are you being reminded to recognize that your particular gift is worth the work? I think that one message from Spirit here is have the tenacity to keep seeing yourself and your offering as worthy and valuable. Be in that agreement with yourself first and foremost. Almost saying, don't outsource your deepest sense of worth to anyone else, because it is your job to hold that with strength and authority. And when you do give yourself that authority, the rest of the world can respond to you with respect as well. And of course, this isn't about being overbearing or pushing your opinion onto others. It is simply trusting yourself and trusting that you have value. And I am getting that this is a huge piece of understanding about where your freedom is going to be found. You are in this place of bringing together all these unique elements that others would never put together in quite the same way, and from that you get to shape how your world is and your experience. You get to decide how you follow your star and what has value for you, and liberate yourself from any sense of helplessness. You get to be your own authority, regardless of anything that other people expect you to be invested in. And you are the one who gets to cultivate a sense of trust, even in the face of the unknown, as you are a beautiful part of this life, this universe. You have your own mysteries and secrets and artistry to bring forward, and there is something strong here which says trust your own mystery, stand in your own fire, let yourself be as bright as you are. So even if this process is a little frightening, or even a lot frightening, your practice or your task when it comes to cultivating positive input for yourself is to lean into that understanding that you are here because you are beautiful. You are an expression of divinity. You are an expression of all that there is, crystallized into your own unique perspective and creativity. So be kind to yourself. Give yourself credence. Trust yourself. Make and do the things that you care about from the understanding that you too are a divine and magical part of life's extraordinary tapestry. Trust your mystery and your magic, group number 3, and I am so interested to know, what are you creating? So I will leave you there, and I feel very excited for you, group 3, because I know that you are on the precipice of generating something so special, or committing to working on something magnificent and uniquely your own, your expression of magic into this world. What a delight. So, group number 3, I will bid you farewell and wish you all the very best.